But when you break those rules, what you end up doing, unexpectedly, is you're challenging people's expectations. And that can make some people really uncomfortable. But that's how we survive. That's how we maintain our spoon count. And that's how we keep our spirit and soul happy. So inevitably, we're going to disappoint people when we work smarter, not harder. And that's okay. Hello, and welcome back to another week of Calling in Sick. I'm your host, Alex Wilderson. It's December. How? I don't know. I feel like it rushed right by us, and now all of a sudden we're at the end of the year. And I always sit at the end of the year and think, oh my God, I fell off the horse on all of my New Year's resolutions. I start beating myself up. It's also the busiest month, I think, of the entire year, with travel and seeing family and holiday parties and gift buying and the commercialism that is this current world. It's crazy. And because of that, I usually find myself in a pretty bad position on New Year's Eve. Flaring up, crashing out, stressed the fuck out. But if you listened to last week's episode, you know I've been having some big ahas recently. Thank you, trauma therapy. And I realized I'm the captain of my own ship. And if I don't want to crash out at the end of the year, maybe I can do something to avoid it. So I hinted at it last week, but I am doing a collaboration with Elastique. It is a wearable wellness company that helps promote lymphatic drainage and compression just by wearing athleisure. It's amazing. So we partnered up together and we are bringing to you guys a Soft 30 challenge. Now that might be ringing a little bell. You've probably heard of 75 hard or 75 hotter, which are these very intense regimens that people do so that they can start really kicking off their wellness journey. And I have to say, it's transformational. However, if you're chronically sick, that is probably not going to be approved by your doctors as medically safe for you. So I decided to take a couple pages from those books, put the chronic illness magic spells over it, and create our own end-of-year wellness challenge, hence Soft 30. But this challenge isn't really anything like 75 hard or 75 hotter. This whole month is grounded in intentionality to go slow and to take care of yourself. I posted a reel describing the challenge on my social, so if you want to partake in it, go check it out. It's not too late to join. I made a couple different approaches for Soft 30, so you really can make it your own, at your own pace, within your own limits, and whatever feels good for you and your body. If you do want to partake, please let me know. Post on your stories, tag Elastique, tag me, do hashtag Soft30 because we're going to have some mega huge prizes during this month and I cannot wait for you guys to be gifted and sprinkled with all of the Santa love. One of my favorite things about partnering with Elastique is that they are the essence of work smarter, not harder. It's wearable wellness. You are literally wearing clothes that are doing positive things for your body. And that got me thinking, okay, what else do I have in my toolkit to share with all of y'all to help you guys get through your really busy month too? So in this week's episode, I'm going to share which healthy people non-negotiable rules I break that sometimes make others think I'm lazy that I don't care about because they make me feel better, what tools and products I use to help me work smarter, not harder, and any of my little life hacks that I've picked up along the last 25 years. So hopefully your December and your Soft 30 can go as smoothly as possible, and we can all avoid the crash out flare up that inevitably hits in January if we don't. But before we dive into this week's nuts and bolts, quick housekeeping. This show just got ranked. We are in the top 200 medical podcasts, and I'm so excited and so honored. So keep doing what you guys are doing, which is sharing the show, rating it on the platforms, commenting on the episodes. Your engagement is actually what makes the show move up in those charts and get to the right ear. So thank you, and please keep it up. This week in the comments, I would love for you to drop your favorite societal norm rule that healthy people would glare at you if you broke, that you love to break. I'll share what mine is in the middle of this episode. You have to stay tuned for that one. But to trade you for your time, my Alex's picks. So this week, since we're talking about working smarter, not harder, my picks are obviously tools that help you with that. And you know what my number one pick is going to be. Elastique. And this week I have a code for you guys. AlexW30 gives you 30% off. That is single-handedly the largest discount that they have ever done outside of Cyber Monday, which I feel very special that we get to do with this community. If you don't know what Elastique is, I'm currently wearing their leggings. It's all over my socials. It's essentially wearable wellness. It promotes lymphatic drainage, it applies compression and all of those different areas in your body where you need it. And that team spent 10 years doing research to make sure their product could actually deliver on what they were promising. And I have to say, as a user, I really have noticed a difference when I do or don't use their products, which is why I love them so much. My second pick of this week is another compression thing, but this time it's socks. If you have not heard of Comrad compression socks, oh my God, you are about to be so excited and so happy. They have cute styles. I feel like most compression socks look really, really ugly and that they're made for super old people. But Comrad has compression socks for people that are our age. They're soft, they're comfortable, they're not painful to take on and off. We love it. They're in normal colors. They also have some fun colors too, if that floats your boat. But I like a good neutral, and so they are my new go-to for compression socks. Tomorrow, I'm flying home from Oregon back to Austin, and I will be showing you guys my entire OOTD. That is truly compression from head to toe. It's kind of funny, but it actually looks really, really cute and adorable. And you can use Alex Wilderson 20 for 20% off at checkout for Comrade. And lastly, you guys are amazing. We have almost sold out on our first merch drop, which makes me incredibly excited. So thank you from the bottom of my heart for supporting this podcast. All of those purchases go to supporting this team that pushes out the show and for pushing out the podcast for greater reach. So thank you. If you have not bought your merch yet, you still have time. We have not sold out yet, but we are running out of our quantities. So you're going to want to add to cart and click purchase before it's too late. If you ordered custom patches, I will be hand fulfilling them when I get back to Austin starting this Saturday. So keep your eyes peeled on your mail. Your second delivery will be on its way very, very soon. And oh my God, I cannot wait to get home so I can put on my cozies and match you guys literally starting tomorrow. I'm so excited. Now, without further ado, let's get into this week's episode about working smarter, not harder. So if you start working smarter, not harder with a chronic illness, you're probably going to find yourself breaking rules that healthy people see as non-negotiables and norms, and they might view you differently because you're breaking those rules. If you can't think of what rules I'm talking about, let me spell it out plainly. Canceling plans last minute, taking a nap in the middle of the day, using a mobility aid when you don't look like you need to use a mobility aid. And last but not least, but probably my favorite one, is to say no to events that you could technically do. We'll get into all of those in this episode. But when you break those rules, what you end up doing, unexpectedly, is you're challenging people's expectations. And that can make some people really uncomfortable. But that's how we survive. That's how we maintain our spoon count. And that's how we keep our spirit and soul happy. So inevitably, we're going to disappoint people when we work smarter, not harder. And that's okay. I think this might have been the first holiday that I have not absolutely crashed out after. And I think it's because I broke a lot of rules that society or healthy people probably would deem as normal or gospel. And probably because this last year has taught me a lot about these truths that I held about myself in life with chronic illness that I've broken up with. And the two biggest ones that I can think of is that people-pleasing gets us nowhere, and that if we don't put our health and well-being first, we usually have to pay a price. But that's not selfish behavior. That kind of thinking of this is selfish is performative wellness, and it's people-pleasing. And if I've also learned anything else this year, it's that people-pleasing gets us actually nowhere, and it's a detriment to our health. Making someone else uncomfortable because you are prioritizing your health and well-being is okay. What's not okay is making your health and well-being such a low priority to make everyone else comfortable. And Lord, that has taken me so long to get to. I have spent so much of my life forcing myself into healthy people routines, healthy people and societal rules and gospels. And honestly, I think that's why I kept crashing out so hard and having these very dramatic flare-ups that would land me in the hospital. Knock on wood, but this is the first year I have not been hospitalized since I was diagnosed with PAN in 2019, which is wild to say out loud. And I'm like, okay, lucky stars, please don't curse me for saying that out loud. But I'm being totally honest. Going to trauma therapy, having these aha realizations has teleported and transported me into a whole different life and lived experience where I'm now way more comfortable in prioritizing my health and well-being. in a way that I'd never done before. And I truly do think that we have to get to that spot first of being okay with it ourselves before we can actually start breaking rules and not feeling guilty about it. But in prioritizing your health and well-being, you don't always have to disappoint people and break these rules and feel uncomfortable. There's also things that you can do to just work smarter, not harder. And there's 5 tips that I've come up with that I think are what I do to work smarter, not harder, and I wanted to share them with you guys. And those are to automate anything that drains your energy, to outsource selectively, to own your own schedule, to be proactive about spoon management, and to habit stack. And I can't wait to dive into all of these with you guys because I'm a total geek about working smarter, not harder. So let's talk about the first mini tip. Automate anything in your life that drains your energy. When Cooper and I first got married, I didn't even know that you could automate your credit card payment, your rent payment, your bill payments, none of that. I was just every single month hoping to God that I would remember and look at my calendar that my bills were due and that I would pay them on time. Well, during that same time period, I was going through Cytoxin chemotherapy and had terrible brain fog and was very sick, and I would occasionally miss a bill that was due a certain month. And at some point that stacked up enough that the utility center turned off our utilities in our condo. And that was the wake-up call of me going, I have to find a better system because I can live in this world with a chronic illness, but I need different systems in place to be successful. And I feel kind of silly saying this, but I didn't know what auto pay was until my mom explained it to me when I was 24. So we walked through all of the bills that we could automate and did that. And then I only had a handful that I had to calendar and actually remember to pay every single month. That changed the mental load, the decision fatigue that I was carrying on a daily basis. I think that also can be applied to your prescriptions or any kind of medical bill that you might be having to deal with. But do be warned, because sometimes you put things on auto pay and then you don't even realize that you're still paying for them. I don't know if you guys have seen that amazing company Rocket Pay, but they will do an assessment on all of your credit cards and debit cards to see what subscriptions you're paying for. And then you go through each of them and say, yep, that one is still good. Or, oh my God, I had no idea I was paying for that. Or, oh my God, like Cooper and I last year, we were paying for 3 different Peacock accounts because apparently I bought it on my tablet, my laptop, and at my parents' house. So we were paying $12 a month instead of $4 a month for one streaming service. So let that be your lesson. Automate everything, but do audit it yourself so you don't end up getting stuck with a bill that you're not needing. My second tip is to outsource selectively. ChatGPT was my very first hire that I made for my podcast, for my app, and for my personal brand on social media. ChatGPT is my little sidekick. I put all of my ideas in a notepad and then sometimes shove it into ChatGPT and say, hey, can you go line by line with me on this and help me understand, is it a good idea or is it a good social media idea? Because those two things I have found are in fact different. But using ChatGPT as an assistant goes far beyond just my work life. It also is my assistant in my personal life. It helps me remember when birthdays are, when I need to book travel. It helps me plan travel. It helps me find the coolest birthday presents for the people I love in my life. Use ChatGPT. Anybody not using it right now is kind of like not using the internet when it first came out. You want to get familiar with it because it's going to stick around. So if you learn how to use it and use it for you, you're off to the races and you've got a leg up on you from last year. Another way you can outsource selectively is offloading really high spoon tasks that have a low reward. I will admit something. We have somebody come and help us clean our house once a month. 3 weeks out of the month, I spend an hour tidying, organizing, keeping the ducks in a row. But that deep clean that would take me 7-8 hours, burn all my spoons, definitely caused me to flare up. I realized that really wasn't worth the flare up. So I found somebody to come and help me one time a month with that deeper clean that gets all of the gunk out of the house, and I don't end up breaking my back or my joints or having excruciating pain afterwards. It's been one of the best decisions that was hard to justify initially that I'm now incredibly grateful that I've done. Other places I've outsourced selectively was this podcast. Most people would look at a podcast and think it's just the podcaster, maybe an editor, and that's all you need. There's a lot more that goes into podcasting, so I found out in the last year. And for a really long time, I was doing all of it, but I had no time for anything else. I was stretched so thin, it was making me stressed, it was making me sick, and making me unhappy. I think the biggest thing to note with outsourcing selectively is being honest with yourself. If you are finding that a very simple task is becoming increasingly harder for you, and you have to compare yourself to healthy people sometimes, cleaning, meal prep, an assistant, do the mental math. Do the spoon math. Is it worth outsourcing and finding a little bit of help in that area in your life? The third way you can work smarter, not harder, is to learn how to own your own schedule. About 3 years ago, I bought this wellness journal. And in the first 15 pages or so, there were some questions and some fill in the blanks that you had to do as homework before you started the journal. Things like essentially vision boarding, life mapping, stuff like that, which I begrudgingly did at that time. But one lesson or activity that was in this wellness journal that stuck with me forever is that they had me fill out a good day and a bad day, which I've now rebranded as a high spoon and a low spoon day. So when I wake up, I have a template for how I'm going to spend my day, no matter my spoon count. Doing that one silly little activity in a wellness journal had the largest single-handed impact on me enjoying, embracing my day, no matter the spoon count, and finding ways to still be productive. I'm so glad that I did that, because now I have this whole new schedule and routine that I can follow without decision fatigue. Since using this planner, I've extrapolated it further. On high spoon days, I batch content, I do my medical admin, I respond to a bunch of emails. I finally respond to all of my friends' text messages and phone calls, which if you are one of my friends or family and you've texted me, you know I'm either on my phone and responding, or you might not hear from me for 2 to 3 days or 2 weeks, depending on my energy level. On low spoon days, I do very light lifts, like picking out pictures for a carousel or reorganizing one of my Shop My boards, scrolling on social media for inspiration. Very small tasks that will have greater impact on big spoon days because I'm being proactive with my time still, but it's a low spoon, low effort, low lift kind of activity. But no matter if it's a high spoon day or a low spoon day, I always try to be proactive with my spoons, which means I schedule nap times or resting times in the middle of my day. I time block my day where I'm only on work calls doing big important work from 11 a.m. until 3 p.m. because that's when my brain is on the most. Outside of those times, question mark and very questionable. I even did this when I worked in corporate America, which honestly sounds like maybe I should have been fired if my bosses ever found out about this. But during the vid, it became quite a habit for me where I'd schedule a dog walk in the middle of the day, and during that dog walk, I would just take a nap. Granted, I also was on Cytoxin chemotherapy during that time, and I was really, really fucking tired, and I don't think my bosses actually would have been upset about that. If you are hearing that and thinking, should I do that? You can always ask your boss for a medical accommodation to have an hour in the middle of your day, like your lunch break plus 30 minutes, to take a nap or use as you need to. I also schedule duvet days, non-negotiably, one every single week at minimum. I like to look at my calendar every single Sunday, and I do a sync with Cooper. I figure out where I'm having the largest energy spends and what days I might need to block off as a recovery day. So for example, this week, Monday and Tuesday were my hard working days. Wednesday I'm traveling. Thursday and Friday I have cleared my schedule. I'm doing nothing but duvet daying, getting a massage, and watching TV and resting. Granted, I will be doing podcasts and social media stuff, but on my phone, horizontally. In the same vein, I also say no to events that I'm technically available to go to. Because I do this calendar sync every Sunday and at the first of every single month, I know when I'm going to be out of spoons or when an event is going to push me over the edge. And I, at this point in my life, will just say, no, I'm not going to be able to make it. I don't give a reason. I don't give an excuse. I just say no. When you're 20, you feel responsible for oversharing your life so that people feel pleased and still loved and cared about if you have to say no to them. But the older you get, the more you realize everyone has their own things and own lives going on. Nobody actually gives a shit what your reason is for saying no, and a good friend will be happy that you're just being communicative and that if you need to rest, they're going to be supportive of you resting. any friend that gives you grief about saying no to an event that you technically could go to because you are prioritizing your health and well-being, you should probably have a life talk with them. Or maybe they'll graduate to a tier 3 friend group instead of a tier 2 or tier 1. We'll get into that in a future episode about friendships and relationships. The most relevant example I can think of is that one of my friends is hosting a holiday party this coming Saturday, but Cooper and I get home from traveling on Wednesday. Usually, the days following travel, I feel terrible. Lots of pain. I'm hopeful that I can get around that this time around because I'm going to be wearing my Elastique top and bottom and compression socks on my flight home, so fingers crossed, stay tuned. But just in case I do feel crummy, I'm blocking off my schedule. So when the RSVP came around, I said no, even though my calendar is wide open this Saturday, and I could technically go to the holiday event. But because of travel and because next week I have IVIG for 3 days, I know I need to protect myself this weekend at all costs. And I think those same rules can be applied to upholding your scheduled duvet day, because technically you're free that day, but that day is sacred and it needs to be protected at all costs. Every year during the holidays, I tell all of our family, you're invited to come from this day to this day. And on that last day, sometimes they get flights way late in the day, no matter what. And that's absolutely fine. They're welcome to stay in my living room. But starting at 8 a.m. on that Sunday, I will be in my bed. I will be having breakfast in my bed. I will not be socializing because I have to use that Sunday to recover from hosting so that I can go into my next week refreshed. It's kind of a silly rule, but it's proven to be incredibly important and something that I will continue to do no matter how insane it sounds. And the last thing I think healthy people probably think is insane is canceling last minute, because it is etiquette-wise kind of rude. When I first got sick, I was mortified to ever cancel last minute. I didn't want to disappoint people. As I've shared before, I was a big-time people pleaser. And it really took until trauma therapy this year for me to break up with that kind of thinking and know that putting my health and well-being first is not selfish. It's just not people pleasing. So now, if I have to cancel something last minute, of course I'll feel a little bit bad, but I won't let that guilt eat me up anymore, because if I'm saying no to something last minute or canceling last minute, it's for a good fucking reason. And the people in my life that know me really well would want me to say no last minute or to cancel last minute, because they want me to feel my best and not end up in the ER or the hospital, because that would make them feel way, 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 way worse. So here's your magical thinking. If you are canceling last minute to avoid a flare-up, you're doing it to save your friend the guilt for causing you to flare up if you were to push through for them. Ain't that some turntables? Now, my last tip about working smarter, not harder, is all about wellness tools and habit stacking. I wrote down my top 5 tools because I'm having terrible brain fog today. It's raining in Oregon. I'm exhausted. We're post-holidays. I'm doing better than I expected, but I'm still tired. So here are my top 5 wellness tools. 1, Elastique. It was my Alex's pick the last 2 weeks in a row, and I'm doing an entire December campaign with them because I love that brand and I believe in what they're doing so incredibly much, because I've seen the effects of wearing their wearable wellness on my own health and well-being, and I'm blown away. I also love that I'm doing a wellness thing for myself right now without spending any spoons. My second pick is any product by Higher Dose. Their PEMF mat single-handedly has helped me recover way faster from IVIG and chemotherapy than ever expected. I now spend 8 hours the day following any kind of treatment like that, and my rebound has gone from like 5 or 6 days of feeling crappy to like 2 to 3 days. I don't know if that's going to be true for everyone. Who the hell knows if it's a placebo effect on me? But it helps me, and I'm going to keep on keeping on with that. My next favorite wellness pick is obviously another compression thing. Compression pants and compression socks. They're so important. Those Therabody compression pants or any of the other brands that are out there have helped me when I have terrible, terrible muscle weakness or muscle pain. That helped a lot post-botched spine surgery when I was relearning to walk. I was so sore every single day from just stretching out how much I was walking, trying to increase by 100 steps a little bit every week. I was so unbelievably sore. And those compression pants, magic. Now, my last 2 picks are actually a double. It's infrared saunas and hydration IVs. Those 2 together are a Band-Aid with ointment inside of them. The infrared sauna detoxes your body, gets rid of all that gunk that we have a hard time detoxing already because of our chronic illnesses, and it helps with that mitochondrial health. The mitochondria, if you remember anything from middle school, is the powerhouse of the cell. We want happy and healthy mitochondria. If I pair that with an IV hydration, aka saline or lactate ringers with a bunch of vitamins and minerals and electrolytes in them, I feel like $1,000,000. So if I've overdone it, if I've traveled and I have a big event later that day or the next day, I will do that double. I will cancel anything and everything to go and do that 2 little back-to-back treatment, and I'll be able to keep on keeping on. It is a spoon extender in a video game. Phenomenal. And one of the best kept secrets in the chronic illness space. Now, on top of using those wellness tools and products, I think using your disability accommodations before you hit crisis point is the other critical thing to work smart, not hard. When I go to the airport to travel, I always book a wheelchair on both ends of the travel. Even though on the way there, I might not necessarily need it. Maybe the pain spike hasn't hit yet. On the way back, I'm hands down gonna need it. But I don't even want to risk landing at the destination of wherever I'm going and traveling to feel like shit. So I will protect my spoons. I will try to prevent a little flare-up spike when I land by using a wheelchair, by using medical devices on an airplane, by trying to make myself as comfortable as possible with the medical accommodations. I even travel with my disability parking placard because I know if I use those, I can extend my spoon count just enough so that I can enjoy whatever holiday or trip I'm trying to take. And that's not just for me, that's for St. Cooper too. Now, the biggest pro tip is to habit stack. It's to do some of these things together. And that's all what Soft 30 is about. Gently and softly doing wellness in ways that maybe you haven't done or tried before, so that you can have new tools in your toolbox. One of my favorite things to habit stack is wearing these Elastique leggings and then sitting on my PEMF mat and chugging a buoy water. When I do that, I feel like a wellness goddess. I'm like, I am better than everybody else. Look at me being so wellness guru-y. Just because I know that I'm doing 4 things at the same time that are good for my body. I really can get in my head and think like I'm $1,000,000 when I do something like that. But I can't wait to hear what you guys are going to do, what your go-to wellness toolbox includes, what your wellness hacks are, and how you're going to do your Soft 30 and extend your spoons, prevent the inevitable December 31st crash out, and prevent our January flare-ups. But just in case we do flare up, we're not going to be hard on ourselves because sometimes that just happens because it's life. And the great news is the Elastique Soft 30 challenge isn't going anywhere, so you can get back on the horse whenever you wish or please. So if we do have a down day, which candidly, I know I probably will have 1 to 2, I'm going to be watching all of the wonderful holiday TV or my one brain cell pick of the week, Man on the Inside. It is fucking hilarious. If you liked The Other Place, I think that's what it was called, with Kristen Bell and this main actor and Inside Man, but I can't remember his name, you will like this show. It is an older man who's pretending to be or is training to be a private investigator, and he goes to a retirement home and a university campus to solve these little crimes that are big crimes. It has been so entertaining. It is family friendly. I watched it with my mom and my dad and my nephew, and we were laughing our bunnies off. Gives kind of Modern Family-esque vibes. I can't wait to hear your guys' thoughts on this show because it is quickly becoming one of my top favorite shows of this entire year. Now, on that note, we're going to wrap because my legs are getting tired sitting in this position like they do every single week. And it's my last day in Oregon, and I really want to go see my grandparents. I love you guys, and I'll see you next week. And that's a wrap. Thank you so much for joining me for another week of Calling in Sick. As a reminder, I would love for y'all to like, follow, subscribe, save, share with a friend, do all of the things. It truly helps grow this community, and it helps these episodes reach the people that need them the most, whether that's for an educational piece, to have a little laugh, or to not feel so alone. As a reminder, Calling in Sick sits on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify, and anywhere else where you can find your listens. From the bottom of my heart, I absolutely love you guys. Thank you so much for calling in sick with me every Monday. It's been an honor and a pleasure so far, and I can't wait to continue building this community with y'all. Love you.